Okay. I'm sending, and then I've sent you a request as
Yeah, we are.
well. Ah, great. Mhm.
Hello again.
Hi, Tobias. So very good to see you again and to speak with you. Thank you for giving me your time.
I'm a little envious of your microphone setup. That's quite a fancy mic you've got there.
Oh, yes. Well, I saw someone online who had it, and
Well,
it's actually pretty cheap, not too
I
expensive.
forgot
And
you're a music man, aren't you? You're a man who
yes,
appreciates sound quality in music.
I do. And it's funny. I always ironically have like really bad luck with microphones and things like that and recording. And I kind of almost blew out my ears one time. But this one seems to be working really well so far. And so I'm very
We'll
happy
get
with
through
that.
it.
So,
Good. I have to say, I'm not sure if you did send me questions in advance, but I don't know if you sent me them. But to be honest, I never routinely read them because it's never about like that. If I read that information before, it's kind of like that's would be like I'd be thinking about that as a person, and it would be coming from knowing. But this is a dance of energy. So what
mm,
energy is expressed in your question is met energetically, and the
hmm
words don't really they're not they're not really what's being it's not where the juice lies.
yeah.
So
Oh, I like that word juice. Yeah. Yeah. I didn't send questions
all
in
right.
the end because, yeah, I kind of had that same idea that let's just kind of see what happens. And, you know, I do like to still think about a relationship as being like a triangle and that whatever you want to put on top, God or the absolute. But right now, two human bodies are speaking, but I feel like there's something at the top, poetically speaking, maybe that's sort of,
Right, that's well
yeah,
put.
yeah, sort of uh, inspiring us or even planting seeds, perhaps, in our minds and whatnot to kind of
Okay.
say, oh, let's talk about this. Let's talk about that. So, anyways, so that's sort of my thy will be done
That's
sort
an
of
interesting
prayer
way of
speech. But
seeing that of
mhm,
describing the seeing of it like that, because
mm,
the description that there's two bodies here talking and that there's some essence of divinity somewhere, let's say arbitrarily on top or all
right.
around or something.
Yeah.
That's the beautiful and very charming, understandable also imaginations of that sense of a me, that there really are two separate people here. And separate to that, again, is this great divinity of which we're speaking about, and perhaps even seeking and lead and one day reaching. And what
hmm
breaks down in that duality of subject, object, and separation is it's not that there's two bodies talking and there's some divinity somewhere. It's that there is only the divine, or there is only
mm
God, or there is only this, appearing to appear as two bodies appearing to be speaking.
mm
So it's only when that story has the weight of the real about it that it would also engender this idea of the special somewhere that we can
mm
go to and reach.
hmm Yeah,
That
that's
there's only
beautiful.
this.
Well, if you look at the two hands, right, it's one body and then there are two arms and two hands are speaking, right? So it might look like two people talking to each other, but who's in not in control, but who's manifesting that conversation is, the one or whatever, but the
Well,
absolute.
do you know it's even worse than that, I'm afraid, Philip, because again, like the idea, somebody is manifesting that. Just,
Yeah,
or something even is manifesting that.
right.
That too is seen through because
Mm,
nothing brings this about.
mm,
Nothing or nobody, divine, human, demigod, or energetic, has
yeah.
brought this about.
Mm,
There is no, there's, is the end of continuity. The me dies and continuity goes with it. So there's not the
mhm,
notion of the authority of a past in which things occurred that has brought about this as a
mhm,
consequence. This is
mm,
just total and unknowably what it is.
Yeah,
Total.
yeah, there's no source, right? That would be
Yeah.
two. Yeah, there's just what
It
is.
itself
Yeah,
is total. So where
yeah,
would
yeah.
totality be coming from?
Right, yeah,
Nothing
yeah.
comes into it, nothing goes out of it. It doesn't
hmm
come from anywhere, it doesn't go anywhere. It is just this.
Mm. I see like a fiery ball of energy in my mind, just this aliveness,
Sampradaha.
radiant. Ah,
Sampradaha, total incineration.
yeah, yeah.
Nisargadatta used to say,
Mm,
no sampradaya, only sampradaha. No guru
mm.
lineage, only total incineration.
Wow.
I
Poof, like a magician.
like that.
flesh. Yeah. Well, now what's in my head? So I was in New York a couple weeks ago, and lately, well, actually, for like the last 6 months, I do a lot of yoga and stuff like that. But in the morning, before I start, sometimes I just kind of do a really good inhalation and just kind of like let my arms come down. And I was in the bathroom in New York. I was about to go like sightseeing, and anyways, by the time my arms got to the bottom, to the alongside my body, something happened, and I don't know what it was. It was nothing, right? But all of a sudden what is seemed really strong, like really predominant. And it moved me to tears. Again, I don't know what was going on, but I was like crying, but I was happy. And it was just what is.
Mm,
And I don't, I started speaking because I tend to like, I like to speak it because it helps bring clarity or makes it real in a sense. You know what I mean? Like, even if it's like a meditation, I guide myself all the time in meditation. So I was speaking, sort of like, sort of reporting about what was happening to no one. It was just me sitting there. And I don't remember really anything that I said except two things. One was, this is not special. And I get goosebumps now because
mm,
I've always lived in a world of wanting things to be
mm.
special, being a
Yeah,
performer, a singer, and everything. I want to be special and shiny.
yeah.
And I was laughing because I just saw, oh my gosh, this is not special. Of course, special is
Hmm.
special, not special, duality. And it was just what is. And it wasn't that it wasn't special, it was amazing, but it was just, yeah, I know you know what I mean.
It's
It just,
unconditional. Yeah, it's
yeah,
unconditional. Like
yeah,
it's not that's not understood until it's impersonally seen. Because how can you
yeah,
describe that? It's not in any way
yeah.
special, but it's unconditionally glorious.
Yeah, it was so amazing. And then I had that kind of funny thought after that saying like, oh, I wouldn't even tell anyone about this, even though I'm telling you about it, because it's nothing, like nothing's
Mm, mm,
happening. So anyways, it
yeah.
lasted maybe 15 minutes. It was glorious. It felt great. And then, I don't know, it ended. I went on the streets and went sightseeing.
I
But
like to hear about things like that, Philip. I have to say, I
yeah.
like to hear things like that a bit more. I'm not trying to make a hierarchy of supposed experiences, but
Hmm.
beyond a glimpse. Glimpses tend to appear to be very fleeting and will routinely be owned by that personal energy, saying, I had that glimpse. But
Hmm.
what would seem to be the case in the apparent story here, although to be honest, it's hard even to say about the story here now because there's just nothing that can in any way see that as real. But for what it's
Hmm.
worth, similar things went on here. So I think
Hmm.
it's nice to mention that. And what I
Hmm.
think's in, worth mentioning about it is what's appearing to occur there is a fundamental wobble in that energy of the me that is
Hmm.
always that outward charging, outward looking subject to an object. In that just relaxation,
Hmm.
Philip will now be aware that was not a getting. You were not getting something,
Right.
which is the endless supposition that people bring to radical non-duality. So
Hmm.
when there's an experience, shall we call it an experience? When there's an experience like that, and seeing that it's not special, that it's just this, and how full that is, that
Hmm.
will push aside and continue to gently massage loose the constricted knots of that iterative, habituated, cyclical storytelling.
Hmm.
Round and round. This is my life. These are all the things I've done. I'm the owner of that experience. This is where I'm going. Just
Hmm.
relaxed for a moment.
Hmm.
And in that beautiful relaxation, Philip, my beloved brother,
Hmm.
that was the simplicity of just what is.
Hmm.
Philip didn't see it. It was just what is. That's
Yeah.
not special. It's
So
just what
simple.
is.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
And nobody can know that. And it's not
Hmm.
even worth talking about it. Talking can appear, but it's
Yeah.
meaningless. It's just this.
And I was happy that I'm sharing it now, but I was happy that immediately I didn't hold on to it. I wasn't like, oh, this happened. Because, I've been doing this for 35 years. I've had many different experiences, along the way. And but this, like, yeah, like I said, it was so seen, I guess, that it was not special that, and I was like, who am I going to tell this to? Like,
You don't, it
it
doesn't
just
have the
and it doesn't
ability
need to
to
be
be
told,
held
but
on to.
Yeah.
Something without objective qualities can't
Yeah.
really be held on to. But I thought it was very telling in the way that I tend to listen to the way people phrase their questions and the energy there. And
Mm,
you were telling me how you like to kind of narrate these uh, incidents, and in your
yeah.
words, to kind of make them real. So what
Right.
that,
Yeah,
I
I
mean,
know.
think about
I
that.
caught that.
I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah.
not an accusation. Of course, you
No, no,
understand
no, of
that.
course. Yeah, yeah,
But
yeah,
that
yeah.
habit is, of
Yeah.
course, it's not quite the ownership, but it's trying to construe or put into a a time and space based cause and effect story of what caused this, what it means, what it meant to me. And you've already seen none of that stands. None
Yeah.
of it. And now you see why speakers can't really talk about what that is, because it
Yeah.
is just unknowably itself. This
Yeah.
is it. This talking is it.
Mm-hmm.
So there's no
Right.
hiding from this. There is only
Mm-hmm.
just this. It
Mm-hmm.
makes me
Yeah.
happy to hear you share that story there.
Well, thank you. I was happy to have the experience, but yeah, I would say though that something relaxed,
Mm,
sort of that seeking energy. When I do speak stuff like I said, sometimes I'll go to start my yoga and I'll end up sitting there for 20 minutes just speaking. And it is, of course, me trying to really boil down like the main concepts, but I'm trying to experience them as well, right?
mm.
So I'll just say like, what is, God is what is, or the absolute is what is, or, the I am is the illusion, or no, I've got this thing I just sent you, clam. So the
I saw
illusion of,
it.
yeah, continuity, locationality, autonomy, and me. So sometimes I just kind of like go through that, and just kind of like remind myself in a way, like this is an illusion. Da, da, da. And, I
But
feel
like, if,
changes in my
sorry to
energy.
interrupt
Yeah.
you, but
Yeah. Yeah.
the reminding of yourself of that will never, ever, ever, ever lead to a clarity in which Philip will see what
Mm,
already is. That
mm,
is just the tension sitting there going, if I think about it this way, maybe that will help. If I remind myself enough, maybe I'll never forget it. But that is
mhm.
already it, just appearing as that. Like nothing needs to be done. That's what the
Yeah.
relaxation of which we speak of is. So, like,
Yeah.
there's no need. It won't harm you and it won't help you.
Right.
It's just
Right.
what's
Right.
appearing to happen. Until that
Yeah.
energy totally relaxes, then the
Mm,
idea that you would have to, that there's somebody here who would have to do something in a certain way, remind themselves or focus for this that is already timelessly just this, to be what it already is, would totally
mhm.
falls from the mind. There might be a habit of meditation that goes on, but there's no idea of getting something.
Yeah. Yeah. And this wants to get it, it's
Yeah.
like 35 years invested, it's like,
Well,
I'm
this is the thing. This is the beautiful thing, right? Because I mean, obviously, I hear this a lot, right? The 35 years invested story, right?
yeah.
What's so crazy is like that energy of the me is walking around with the weight of its 35 years of invested experience. And when that me drops, it's
Loser.
seen that that never happened. So,
Yeah.
like,
Right.
its total worthlessness
Right.
is
Right.
utterly revealed.
Yeah.
But
No
until
past.
then, its weight is like its meaning. The
Mm,
meaning is like
mm,
its weight.
yeah.
Because like that constricted me and its addiction to its story is holding on to the importance of look what I've done and what it means. And whilst that is the case, all that energy put into that supposition is all the tension that will relax, and then it's seen that no, there never was a me, and there
Mm,
already is no me there.
mm,
There already is no me there.
yeah.
That's the illusion of
Hmm.
being there in that body. So all the ideas of storyhood and journeying all go totally. There's no
Mm,
path to what already
mm.
is. There's nobody there to do it and nothing that needs to be done. And just when that's heard, that's just simply like you saw. Oh, it's really simple. It's actually just this, like they all said.
Brr.
But it's too
Yeah.
simple to believe, isn't it?
Yeah. And I do believe it,
Yeah,
like, that's the thing. I believe it. So then I'm like, oh, I'm like trying to squeeze the juice out of it,
yeah.
and Like I do believe it. Why isn't something happening? Why am I not disappearing? I do believe it, you know.
Well,
Or I'll say there's
you're
no
a
one in the
Vaishnava,
body,
right?
there's no
You
one in the
love
body.
singing to Krishna. You love the leelas
Yeah.
of Krishna. I know your heart.
Yeah,
So you
yeah.
talk about squeezing the juice, trying to get the juice out of that. You probably know in Sanskrit the word for juice is rasa, like the Ras Leela.
Uh-huh. Uh-huh,
When
right.
Krishna
Yeah.
dances with all the gopis and he's in all the positions, that's the Ras Leela, the divine dance.
Oh, okay.
So rather than what one of the mysteries of that parable is, rather than trying to extract the juice out of the experience, the rasa, trying to extract that and be the owner of it, there was a celebration of it. The Ras Leela, the
Mm,
divine play of it, was the dance in joy and the absolute celebration of just what unknowably is. And so the juice wasn't being squeezed and held, but no,
right.
it was being celebrated as all that there is.
Which as I hear you say it, I mean it feels so selfish too, you know. It's like, gosh,
You know
I'm
what,
just
man?
that guy trying to find that personal enlightenment, you know?
Well,
Like,
do you
oh,
know? I
that's
mean,
so
don't beat yourself up, mate. But like,
yeah.
that was a real revelation here. When I was quite involved in like the awareness teachings and all
Hmm.
those
Yeah. Me
meditations
too.
too.
Yeah.
And when I really when I first met Jim and I first went to a retreat, I very quickly was having sort of glimpses and it totally upended all that.
Hmm.
And I remember going back there because I had some commitments I had to finish at this place. And I went there, and it was honest to God, it was like an orgy of masturbation. They were all wanting a
Right.
total me
Hmm.
to be everything, the me
Yeah.
as everything. The whole focus was on the me, and the
Yeah.
me was to be all that there is. I am, and like actually, it's a total inversion of what's being understood. I mean, I can understand why they think it's non-duality, and I
Hmm.
don't mean to speak negatively of other schools, but the whole point
Hmm.
is this isn't a teaching, it isn't a school. It isn't
Hmm.
even saying there's a thing called non-duality.
Right.
It's just the exposure of the natural reality, singing its own song, saying, I am that I am. This is no thing.
Mm.
There is just unknowably this.
And I can feel the arm going out like, ooh, that feels good. Let me just grasp it. Let me grasp it. I heard a speaker recently say,
Reaching for your own hand. Reaching for your own hand,
yeah,
mate.
exactly right. Ah, I'm already at. I heard a speaker recently say, like, they started off by saying there's no agenda, right? No goal. And I just those four words, and I was like, oh, something relaxed, you know?
Mm.
And I don't know why this is, but I always project myself into the future as if I'm going to be speaking this one day. And it's almost annoying. I'm like, I don't think other people do this, you know? I think, you know, usually people just have this sort of process within themselves. But for me, it's always like, well, it could be, well, anyways, an astrologer said things to me years ago that I guess I'm still believing. But anyways, so I'm always projecting myself into the future, trying to like out of fear, like I've got to know this somehow. I've got to be prepared. I've got to be ready for the people when they come. It just sounds crazy, but it sounds so ridiculous. But
Oh, God bless you, mate.
yeah,
Look, like who hasn't like the old
please, God
character of
bless you.
Tobias wanted nothing more than to be liberated to show it off to his friends and be the speaker. And I was
Yeah,
way worse than you were, I was bad, yeah, but like that was but like
we're like
the
addicts
funny
or
thing is
something.
now. Like, I can tell you in 100% honesty, there's zero idea even of what comes out here. So it's like I was
Oh
saying with the questions, like the idea of
gosh,
preparation, that would all be
right,
about knowledge. And it's not like Tobias has worked something out, now
right.
knows it, and is disseminating that information. And you could learn it too. It's 100% about energy. It's not even
Mm,
80/20. It's
mm,
100% about energy. And
mm,
what's really the mysterious part of this and the resonance that's spoken of is that sometimes it can just be subtly heard that there's already no you there. And there's just a deep relaxation of that tension. And just like you experienced, it's impersonally seen that there is just simply this that will not be satisfying for a me to think of. And it will try and grab it, thinking it can have it. But it's all part of the delusion of that energy. It doesn't have agency. It's not a person that can do something. That's all its dream. It's just attention that's kind of creating the incorrect assumption that this is real in a thing called time and space. And that slowly can start to become a bit looser. It can
Yeah.
be sometimes like a process, although it's not really, but it appears like that. So things like you
Hmm.
experienced and spoke of, that will routinely appear to happen, where there's a sort of falling apart of that tension. And that's the hearing of this message. It's like slowly relaxing that system.
I keep hearing the word unraveling, like an unraveling.
Mm,
I
yeah.
don't know if, yeah.
Yeah, I see it like that because I very often see, the me can be described as illusory as it is. We're really stretching, but we could say it's something like a contracted energy, which is often how Tony originally described it. If I really, really had my back to a wall, I'd say the most I could describe it as is like an energetic web of stories that have the weight of the energy that's invested in them. And they form like, I think the Kundalini is quite an artful depiction, but it's
Mm-hmm.
an energetic circularity that's going round that is almost like the energy that appears to animate the psychophysical being of an apparent human being. It has energy that moves
Hmm.
these arms in the way that they appear to move. That's
Hmm.
the appearance of how these bodies work. And that energy, we're having to speak very poetically because this isn't a real factual thing. But
Hmm.
poetically, we could say that it's like it was seen like when it unraveled here that it was constituted of all that impetus that's put into I will have this, I must look like this, I must get this, I hope for that, I fear this, and all those stories that they are real and that they have an energetic investment in them kept a sort something like a momentum to them, and in
Hmm.
their spinning they kept the momentum of continuity and its illusion through this dance of time and space, highly psychedelic, complex, subtle. Liberation isn't like a subtle thing. It's a complete falling apart of the duality of subject object. And that's
Hmm.
explosive and dynamic. And it's just this. At the
Hmm.
center is all that there ever is. Just this.
What do you feel is the most, I mean, well, let me just ask it. What do you feel is the most profound sort of pointer or thought about all of this? Because for me, it's, that nothing exists, that this is appearing, but it doesn't exist. And it's nothing. So nothing is happening. And therefore nothing has happened, nothing will happen because it's always nothing happening, or energy appearing as matter or
Mm.
something like that. But
I mean
because that, yeah.
yeah, that's nice. I dig what you're saying, but that's to some degree a concept. If you're asking me what's the most
Hmm.
important and pertinent thing at the center, 100% put my money on this, right? It's absolutely not to do with any concept, understanding, or pointer. It's the energetic nexus, the meeting point of that contracted illusory energy, energetically hearing that it is already not there.
Mm.
And that's the confrontation that when the bullshit ends, that's where non-duality lands. And when that
Hmm.
confrontation is finally met, that's the end. And there'll be a lot of thinking and philosophizing and conceptualizing before then. There'll be frustration and meditation and hope and going to meetings before then. And that will
Hmm.
just relax eventually. And it'll be seen that there never was separation. But that which is a me believes it's a person in real time and space, and there's rules and laws to that. And it believes it has to hear something or understand something. But it's seen that no, it's a contracted energy engendering that illusion. And when that contracted energy relaxes, it cannot do it itself, but mysteriously it just relaxes. Then this we can say is impersonally seen or heard, shall we say.
I feel like, and it's the story, but the story of having free time, let's say, I mean, if I'm working or I'm doing something, my mind is busy. But when I have free time, I want to then have a mantra or something, I mean, sometimes I'll say, no time, no space, no you, no me, no time, because again, I'm trying to, either I'm trying to work with the neural pathways
Squeeze
or the
non-duality into
conditioning.
yourself.
Yeah. Or there's no one in the body. There's no one in the body, you know? So, anyways, I'm trying my best to
Well, okay.
disappear,
If
but
you want, if you're really locked in the trying your best and like you like something to do, like, then what? All I'll say, because I can't give somebody who's not there advice or something to do, but all I'll say is just know that every single time that you put forth effort and energy in those practices, that
mm,
energy is going into the box called "This is not it."
mm, yeah. Mm,
Not a very
yeah.
pleasant thing to hear, but that's unconditional love. I share that in, Philip.
Yeah. No, it's great. I mean, I love to hear it, you know. I was just thinking it's so when I hear that again, it's like relaxation just seems, I mean, I love to relax. You know, I'm
Mm,
not like I'm a workaholic or something, but
mm.
I do have a part of me that's very active and also likes doing. So it's like when I hear you say that, I can feel that just, you know, this is it. It's already whole and complete. There's nothing to do, nowhere to go, no one. And
What do I do
I
about
can, yeah, well, I can stay there for a
that?
minute, but then you know, there's time, right? So at some point I'm going to say, oh, I'm like today, I wrote a rap or let's make a video or, you know, and I don't feel bad about those things because again, there's no me, there's no doer. It's just being expressed for no reason, you know, just that's what the character's doing, you know, but, yeah,
There's absolutely zero wrong with that.
yeah,
Character work, you have a
right.
great love of music, and like when you're not working, you have a great love of music and all these creative
Mm,
outlets. That will still go on. If anything, they'll be go on freer and more
mm,
uninhibited and naturally. Some might go on, some
mhm.
might stop. It just there's no way of knowing, but
Yeah,
it's certainly not wrong. You're certainly not a bad non-dualist because there's nothing that needs to be performed, you know?
right.
You know?
Naughty, naughty.
You'd still sort of have the idea that, work must be done, and that spiritual endeavor will get me to a place. I should invest my time in it, and it's bad not to be using my time doing that. But,
Mm,
you know, that is all, of course, the not hearing that, no, this is already it. And
mm,
that energy of the me takes a lot of satisfaction in its forward momentum. It might not even be liking it, but that's what it knows, that's familiar, the push forward. And what it fears is freedom, the total freedom, and the total rest of having nowhere it needs to go.
mm.
Just this.
Wow. Yeah, rest. Mm,
Yeah. That's the rest that's like. I should credit Richard Sylvester here because I was at a meeting of his a while ago. I went to see him talk, and he
mhm,
put it very beautifully. And I have to admit, I just sort of returned that phrase of his that, it's easy to forget that that rest that is felt palpably around this message is a real rest from the sense that there's somewhere we must go. And
and must
energetically,
do.
that's is yearned for, yet feared. So
Mm,
that's kind of the paradox that Me's energy is finding herself in.
mhm.
Like Philip will be deeply yearning for this at a deep, profound level. Otherwise, this exchange wouldn't even be able to happen. Yet, at the same time, to let go of all those tools, to put them all down, that's the
Yeah.
naked nudity of no fig leaf in Eden, right?
Mm,
To be totally exposed is
yeah.
confronting. There was a lot of terror in this story. That's
Mhm,
total openness. Total openness of just
mm,
this is wide open. That's why I say there's nothing other than the invitation to just this. Literally nothing other is going on than just this, the glory, the dynamic glory of it. And
mm,
even if it's appearing as an apparent illusory contraction, the
mhm,
joy of the poetry and ecstatic exuberance of this is that it's saying, it's okay, fling off those chains. And it won't be
mm.
Philip super free in the middle. It's
Right.
freedom from the constraints of that Philiphood. So that
Mm,
character becomes the divine and full total.
mm. I mean, it sounds good. I can sort of visualize something like that, but yeah, it's not good for me, but
But it's like you said there, it's very simple. And like, yeah, there won't be a me that it's good for, but it's
Yeah.
very simple. Just walking down the street will be, I was talking to Rachel, who I did a meeting with recently, and we were talking after, and we were saying, we were trying to sort of bounce off new words to try and describe the indescribable, just for fun. We were having fun.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And
Mhm,
because we were just about to do a Zoom or had just done one, I can't remember, but
mhm,
I was saying, even just like sitting at a table just chatting about nothing, it's just when there's nothing other than just this, it's
mhm,
so cozy and such
mhm.
an embrace. And I'd never used the word cozy before to describe it, and
Yeah.
there's something so embrace like, but there's nobody being embraced. But it's just that, like, when there's nothing other than just
Mhm,
this, it's so total and so whole and so harmonious. It's like, even
mhm,
if it's screaming and arguing, it's the absolute unbelievable energetic harmony of that.
mhm. The embrace of what is, maybe by what is, just that
Yeah,
impersonal
but it's
immediacy
so
or
total that
intimacy.
we
Yeah.
become the man made of salt who went to measure the depth of the
Mhm.
ocean. So like that embrace is so total, it's a devouring.
Yeah.
Annihilation is the same as liberation.
Does your background have anything connected to like Rumi or Sufism or this sort of beloved or divine poetry
I,
or?
I certainly was a huge fan. I certainly loved it.
Mhm.
I didn't. I mean, I didn't come up through the mystic Islamic paths, but
Yeah.
I certainly admired the poetry and had enormous, and still have enormous love and respect for it. Yeah.
Yeah. I guess it could even be with Kali, but do you ever have that sense of, I know you're a very literate, poetic person, but do you ever have that sort of, in terms of like new words to describe this sort of love affair with what is, or a burning in the heart, or I mean,
I
do you
was
ever
crying in my
express it that
garden
way or?
yesterday morning.
Mm,
I'd come back from a really lovely weekend away, and I was just sitting there, and I was just watching. I love my garden, and I was never really into it before this fell away. But I've
hmm
really just like planting seed. People send me seeds very often. I'm
mm,
planting them and watching things grow. And I'd been away and I hadn't watered my plants, and I was watering them more.
mm,
And it was nighttime. It was early morning, and there was just air just moving through them. And I've got corn growing and lupins, all sorts of
mm.
plants, lots of lovely
Wow.
plants. And it was just so endlessly
Mm,
total and beautiful. And it was like such an abundance of happiness. It was
mm,
almost
mm,
like too much, but it wasn't
mm,
like a personal experience. It was just the awe at the beloved glory of just this. Isn't
mm,
like personally experienced, but it rings. It like if you could hit it with a tuning fork, it would go ding. It
mm.
rings with its own indescribable vibration
Oh,
and glory, really
yeah.
deeply. It's just so, it sounds like there's like somebody in it experiencing it. I get that, and it's weird. It's also weird. Even this character can sense that weirdness of that. But
Mhm,
that's the shock of immediacy when that duality and the notion of time and space fall apart. There's no knowledge of what's coming out here. And that's such a celebration when there's not that apparent illusory contracted energy twisting everything around and everything's thrown open and free. It's play. It's play. It's exactly like a little child playing. It's not trying to achieve anything. It's not
right,
trying to play. It is
right.
just playing. And that's what
Yeah.
it's like. There's still
Mm,
responsibilities that get done and propriety is there's a sense of propriety. But it's so playful and childlike. It's
mm,
very free, total
That's
freedom.
beautiful. That's beautiful. A few times I've been at, events and I've been about to play my harmonium, and it's not like, oh, I love music. It's like something comes over me, like, and
Mm,
I start crying,
mm,
it just, it feels like the divine has descended,
mm.
and it just, yeah, I just
It's
feel so
beautiful.
lucky or fortunate that I can be a conduit or channel to have that experience, because just the vibration gets so like, so
Tears
beautiful.
I tend to think tears and laughter are a releasing of the
Mm,
tension of that contracted
mm,
me, you know.
mm,
Physiologically, they always like, around this message that like and the grace around this message, shall we say, and the peace that lives in this message.
mm,
Um, yeah, I love to see the tears of laughter and plain tears because it's like that holding onness when we can laugh at something, for example, we've lost the
mm,
pain of it, and that those
mhm,
tears of grace is like it's really washing away that tight defense of I'm in this body, that's the world, and I have to deal with it. And like that
mm,
openness, that is sort of re-educating that energy to sort of into its
mm,
openness. That sounds like I'm describing a real thing and a process, but it has to be understood that that's meant very poetically in the
mhm,
mysteries of resonance with
mm,
this message.
mhm,
It's very energetic because that energy system there that's so used to being in that pattern and so used to being like the subject in this three-dimensional world through time, that energy just relaxes. And that had created the notion of personhood. So nobody gets anything. It just falls apart. And then what's
mhm,
there is the glory of God. That's the glory
mhm,
of God, mate. You
mm,
don't get to be, I behold it, because there is only God.
right.
And that's the revelation. There is only God.
Mm,
And this is nothing special here in any way. There's nothing
mhm,
had here that other people don't have. And like,
mhm,
speakers aren't elevated or magic in any way. It's just that energy appears to have just relaxed and collapsed. So nobody gets anything special or added on. It's just a very authentic, natural, direct expression of the
mhm,
natural reality, just like talking to a plant.
mm. Yeah, actually, I was envisioning like grass, just grass growing,
Yeah.
or a
It's not
flower.
trying
It's
to
like,
get anything from you. It's not trying
yeah,
to convince you this
yeah,
way or that way. It's not creating a story in which you trod on it and it's going to wait for you to come back and try and trip you up next time. The whole, it's just grass
right,
growing.
yeah,
It's just a
right,
person personing,
yeah, yeah,
laughing,
it is.
joking, being sad, being happy,
Mm,
all the things.
mhm,
There's just no continuity or theme of a life within it that is the owner of, oh my God, that's my sadness, and I am the sufferer of it. It might just be
mhm,
emotionally sadness and then moves away instead of
mhm,
being someone there, owning it and being the sufferer of it. So it's
mhm,
very natural that emotions just move across as if, well, no one's having them, so they're just
yeah.
physiological.
And it might not even be your sadness per se, maybe, right?
Well,
Or
there's never a you anymore for it to own
yeah,
it in any way. It's just that sadness. Like you could
mm,
say this body, this apparent body is having that sadness, but when it's not owned by somebody who is saying, I am sad, and
mhm,
the meaning of that energetically, it's just there's no story to it.
mm,
There's just no
right,
navigating the openness and freedom for this to appear however it appears. If it
yeah,
appears as laughing and joking or crying on the floor, it wouldn't make any difference. It's just total freedom and unconditionality is the fact that it's just the totality appearing to appear as whatever. And there's never a good or a bad or a better or worse or a meaning behind it.
mhm,
That's the freedom of it
right,
being just
right,
this,
yeah,
not
wow,
special,
yeah.
just this.
It does have like a creative element to it in a way. It's like a master dancer or artist, or
Mm.
just like there's,
Yeah.
it doesn't need another layer of meaning or purpose. It is just so meaningful, right? In its totality. I mean, again, I keep looking at these plants behind you, or the sunflower, or the paintings. It's like it's all art. It's all like this juicy, creative expression, for no one. But yeah, I mean, it's not like vanilla or something like that, or
Well, yeah, that's it.
I
Yeah,
don't
yeah,
think.
that's a good way of putting it. It's like it's awesome, but it doesn't have the capacity to be special in comparison
Mhm.
to some another
Yeah.
all this or another something.
Hmm.
So it's just, I mean, I called my site the Unknowable this because fundamentally
Mm,
it's unknowable because
mhm.
there's nothing that can be compared to, or there's nobody in it knowing it. It is just unknowably this. I mean, it is just unknowably this.
Right.
And it's so crazy because this talking to is just this, appearing as these words, just appearing.
Right.
And I mean, I do always make it clear they do not mean anything. They're not
Mhm.
teaching something. They're not
Right.
providing information that you need and will help you go somewhere.
Mhm.
It's an energetic dance, 100%.
Is it like a again like a ball of energy? I mean, this sounds like process again, where like like there are ripples or something, or like part of the oneness isn't quite. That doesn't sound right. It's just
It's
whatever it is.
like,
It's already
we
whole and
try
complete.
and
And
put oneness into
yeah,
a palatable story. You won't be able to ever.
yeah,
It just can't be, it cannot be navigated. It's
yeah,
too wide open.
yeah.
So like the temptation will be, okay, I can get my head around this. Is it like this or is it like that? It's not like anything. It's not, it doesn't
Right.
have thingness. It is just this.
Yeah.
And that's total openness. That's like
Mm,
a divine surgeon's knife splitting you down the middle. Open, open,
mm,
open, open,
mm.
open. You know? Real open.
Yeah, yeah. I love wide open. That's been going through my head a
Yeah.
lot lately. Wide open.
Well,
Oh.
it's a collapse of that constriction. Well, in
Mm,
the apparent moment this fell apart, it was absolutely like a constriction that I didn't have, but was energetically what I was. So when it fell apart, it wasn't falling off from somebody that was
hmm.
now free from it. It
Right.
was the person. And it's kind of energetically returns to the ends of the universe because it is the universe. It is the idea of universality, of there being time and space. And in the middle, inverted commas, there's just like oh, wow, it's always just been this. The
Mm,
simplicity of just a voice talking, arms moving, and that in absolute immediacy. Like there's something that can hear these words, but there's nothing inside going, I am going to say this, I will say this, I want to make this point. And it
hmm.
sounds articulate, like somebody knows something, but it's
Hmm.
not absolutely not coming from that. And what's people inverted commas like about going to speakers is that play of language does something very interesting to the me because it's not, of course, it's not like there's the idea that there's a me here and there's not a me here and there's a me there, right?
Hmm.
It's
Yeah.
universally seen that there's no separation. So like that's never getting confirmed or met as a
Mm,
me. And it's being invited to play. And so it's like what level of fear there is in the security of personhood versus that invitation to freedom, but total freedom. I
mm.
can't offer you a little bit of freedom. I can't
Partial. Yeah.
even offer you a lot of freedom. I can only offer you total freedom, and that's
Unconditional freedom.
annihilation.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Those weren't Tobias's words. I was voicing the natural reality speaking for
Yeah.
itself.
Mm. Yeah. Unconditional freedom, right? Like, yeah, just total emptiness and
That's the
yeah.
thing, people have a great idea that unconditional love's exactly what they want. It can't be
Mm.
wanted, had, known, owned. Unconditional love's a divine hooligan, you know,
Mm. I love that word hooligan. Yeah. I mean, it's everything, right? Unconditional love and freedom. It's everything. So it's, yeah.
appearing as all things that conditionally or relativistically we wouldn't label as nice,
Hmm. Right.
you know.
Yeah. Just for fun, um, can we say what is the absolute and what is appearing is the relative, which is also, of course, the absolute because there's only the absolute, but just in the sense of, because I'm an English teacher. So,
Hmm.
like, what is has this stative sort of feeling to it. Like the
Vocative
ocean.
statement, yes.
Yeah. Yeah. What is, it's real, it's unreal. And then it's like that ocean in motion idea, right? So the ocean isn't going anywhere. It's not, it doesn't matter if you add something to it or try to take something away, it's already everything. So it's just rock solid, reality. And then, of course, when we talk about ing, things changing or appearing to change, but nothing's really happening because nothing really exists. But there's the appearance of thoughts or feelings or
Mm.
words or sensations, you know, because in order to speak about anything, can you grab me a cup of coffee or something, there's language that needs to be used, but so it's always the absolute, but yeah.
Well, that's a good question. The best way to answer it, I can come up with, is that there is, as you say, always the absolute. There is only the absolute. There's only
Yeah.
just this
Hmm.
absolute, total, whole, and complete. It can appear as that illusory me, and there, from that view and purview and belief in its abilities, that will give rise to the notion of relativity, because it is believing itself separate relative to what it's objectifying. So
Hmm.
relativity and relating and duality is, and
Hmm.
the dream of it is born. So in the terms and view of the me, it's living in a world of duality. If we're trying to discuss the natural reality outside of the view of the me, we have a problem because relativistically we can't discuss that because all those rules fall apart with the me. The idea of things being compared or measured or
Hmm.
valued or understood, or there
Hmm.
being an explanation involving these things doing that thing, meaning this thing. All that is duality. So in the
Hmm.
collapse of that illusion of relativity, it's seen impersonally that there is only ever the absolute and the illusion of the relative, but that's an illusion unto itself, and there is no relativity.
Hmm.
Even
Right.
even the appearance of relativity, so like the appearance that there's two
Mm.
people having this meeting, would
Hmm.
only make sense and have a meaning to something that felt itself separate. Because this isn't saying it appears like there's two people here, because these words are just appearing too. Nothing's
Mm.
even being said. It's so
Hmm.
wild and free. Nothing's
Mm.
being said by anyone. Nothing's heard by anyone. Nothing's known. So it's so intangible. These words are so utterly pointless that it's only the energy that ever is that is thrumming behind them and thrumming everywhere that's
Mm.
pushing aside that contraction. The idea of relativity collapses.
Mm.
There's only the absolute.
Mm.
Absolutely.
Mm. Mm. Well, it's like sitting next to a campfire. It's very warm and feels very,
Oh,
very wholesome.
that's
Yeah.
lovely. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's nice to speak about this because I'll be honest with you. I mean, we're personal friends. I can be honest like this. It's like, there is still like a heart feeling of compassion and love for the people that with whom I speak. And like, even though there's the seeing of the illusory nature of that me, there's still seeing of that frustration and that apparent predicament. And there's still the
Hmm.
desire to put arms around those that feel ill at ease, you know? That's just a loving character will do that.
Sure. Hmm.
I know this knows that nothing can be done, but in the strange, mysterious interchange and resonance of this message, I do invite anyone hearing this, and of course yourself, always to view me as a friend, and we celebrate this together. And in that celebration, it can very easily be heard that there is simply just this, that
Mm.
strange relaxation away from the seeking and I mustness. It
Mm.
all just falls away. And in loving friendship, it's easily heard that it's just this. Very simple.
Mm.
Hey man, I really enjoyed that.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Hey, that was a nice one. Shall we conclude it there?
Yeah. Yeah. Sounds good.
Okay,
Sounds good.
well, I tell you what, I'll turn off my record, but we can
Okay.
carry on chatting. And I'll say goodbye to whoever's watching this.
Okay.
Okay. I hope this works. Stop recording.